The lights on Terminus Station burned bright and harsh. Kale Shara stood on the cold metal platform, her scales catching the light in shades of deep crimson and gold. She kept her head high, even though shame burned in her chest like acid. Around her, hundreds of aliens filled the auction hall. They were buying and selling slaves like goods at a market. She was a Drakesh warrior. Or at least she used to be. Her people were dragon-like beings, tall and powerful, with scales that could turn away most weapons. The females ruled their society. They led armies, made laws, and carried on the bloodlines. But that was the problem. Carrying on bloodlines required children. Kale Shara could not have children. The medical tests had confirmed it 3 months ago. The word they used was barren. In Drakesh culture, a female who could not produce heirs was worthless. Worse than worthless, she was a genetic dead end, a waste of resources. The council had stripped her of her rank, her property, and her name rights. Then they sold her to slavers. Now she stood here, waiting to be bought like a piece of furniture. The auctioneer was a Gralk, a slug-like creature with 6 eyes and a voice amplifier attached to its body. It gestured at Kale Shara with one of its tentacles. Next item, a Drakesh female, age 28 standard years. Excellent physical condition, trained warrior, combat experience in 3 different wars. The Gralk paused. Its voice dropped. However, this one is certified barren. Cannot reproduce. Genetic defect confirmed by medical scan. A wave of noise went through the crowd. Most of it was laughter. Some of it was disgust. Kale Shara felt her claws dig into her palms. She wanted to roar, to tear that slug apart, to show them all what a Drakesh warrior could do even in chains. But she did nothing. Fighting now would only make things worse. Besides, the collar around her neck would shock her unconscious if she tried to attack anyone. Let us start the bidding at 1,000 credits. The auctioneer called out. Silence. The auctioneer's eyes blinked in sequence. 500 credits? More silence. A few aliens whispered to each other. Someone in the back laughed. 100 credits? The Gralk's voice was getting nervous now. She is still a trained warrior. Strong, healthy, good for heavy labor or security work. Nobody raised a hand. Nobody made a sound. Kale Shara closed her eyes. This was the final insult. She was not even worth buying as a worker. The barren mark had destroyed her completely. In the eyes of the galaxy, she was nothing. 10 credits? Anyone? The auctioneer was practically begging now. She eats less than most species. Very efficient. Still nothing. The Gralk made a sound like a deflating balloon. Fine. If nobody wants this item, we will move on to 1 credit. The voice came from the far side of the hall. It was quiet but clear. Everyone turned to look. A human stood there. He was not very tall, maybe 6 feet. He had dark hair, brown eyes, and tan skin. He wore a gray jumpsuit with a cleaning company logo on the chest. In his hand, he held up a single credit chip. The crowd burst into laughter. Even the auctioneer seemed shocked. Sir, I said 1 credit. As in 1 single credit? Surely you mean, I mean 1 credit, the human said. His voice was calm. That is my bid. The Gralk looked around the room, waiting for someone to counter the bid. When nobody did, it sighed. Sold. To the human janitor for 1 credit. The laughter got louder. Kale Shara felt something inside her break. Bought by a cleaner. A human cleaner. For 1 credit. Less than the cost of a meal. This was how her story ended. 2 guards unlocked her chains and pushed her toward the human. She stumbled, caught herself, and then walked with as much dignity as she could manage. When she reached him, she looked down at him. She was almost a foot taller. Why? She asked. Her voice was rough from not speaking for days. The human looked at her with brown eyes that seemed kind. Because nobody else would, he said simply. Come on. Let's get out of here. He led her through the crowds. Aliens stared and pointed. Some made rude comments. Kale Shara ignored them all. She followed the human through the station corridors, past shops and bars and docking bays. They walked for nearly 15 minutes. Finally, they stopped at a door in a quiet section of the station. The human pressed his hand to the scanner and the door opened. This is my place, he said. It is not much, but it is clean. Kale Shara stepped inside. The quarters were small. 1 main room with a bed, a desk, a small kitchen area, and a door that probably led to a bathroom. But it was clean, like he said. And it smelled better than the slave pens. The human closed the door behind them. Then he did something that shocked her. He pulled a small device from his pocket and pressed a button. The collar around her neck clicked and fell away. There, he said. That should feel better. Kael'Shara rubbed her neck. You freed me? I removed the shock collar, he said. Legally, you are still bought property until I file the papers to release you. But that is just paperwork. I will take care of it tomorrow. She stared at him. I do not understand. Why did you buy me, if you are just going to free me? The human pulled out a chair from the desk and sat down. He gestured to the bed. You can sit if you want. And my name is Marcus Chen, by the way. Kael'Shara sat slowly on the edge of the bed. It was softer than anything she had touched in months. I bought you because you needed help, Marcus said. I saw what was happening up there. They were humiliating you, making a joke out of your pain. I could not let that continue. You spent money on me, even if it was only 1 credit. 1 credit is nothing, Marcus said. He leaned back in his chair. But your dignity is worth more than all the credits in the galaxy. Kael'Shara felt something hot behind her eyes. She had not cried since she was a child. Drakesh warriors did not cry, but now sitting in this small room with this strange human who had shown her more kindness than her own people, she felt tears forming. I am Barren, she said. The word tasted like poison. I am worthless. Why would you care about someone like me? Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled. It was a small, sad smile. Where I come from, we have a saying, he said. Every person has value, not because of what they can produce or what they can give to others, but because they exist, because they are alive. You are not worthless, Kael'Shara. You are a person who has been hurt by a cruel system. She looked at him, really looked at him. This human, this cleaner, this man who had paid 1 credit for her. He meant what he said. She could see it in his eyes. Thank you, she whispered. You are welcome, Marcus said. Now you must be hungry. Let me make us some food. Then you can rest. Tomorrow we will figure out the next steps. As he stood and moved to the kitchen area, Kael'Shara watched him. For the first time in months, she felt something other than despair. She felt hope. Kael'Shara woke up on the small couch. Marcus had insisted she take the bed, but she refused. She was not used to kindness, and accepting too much made her uncomfortable. The couch was fine, better than the cold floor of the slave pens. Morning light filtered through the window. It was artificial light, of course. Terminus Station did not have real mornings. It just had cycles of bright and dim to simulate day and night. She heard movement in the kitchen area. Marcus was making something that smelled good. Her stomach growled. She sat up, stretching her wings slightly. The room was too small to fully extend them, but even a small stretch felt wonderful. Good morning, Marcus said. He did not turn around. I made breakfast. I hope you like eggs. They are from Earth. I have a supplier who imports them. I eat most things, Kael'Shara said. She stood and walked to the small table. Drakesh are not picky about food. Marcus brought over 2 plates. On each was a pile of yellow scrambled eggs, some kind of bread, and sliced fruit she did not recognize. He also poured 2 cups of a dark liquid that smelled bitter but interesting. Coffee, he explained. It is a human drink. Be careful, it is strong. They ate in silence for a few minutes. Kael'Shara was surprised by how good the food was. Simple, but fresh and well cooked. When she tried the coffee, she made a face. It was bitter. But after a few more sips, she started to like it. So, she said finally, what happens now? You said you would file papers to free me? Marcus set down his cup. His expression changed. He looked more serious now. I need to tell you something, he said, and I need you to promise that what I say stays in this room. Kael'Shara felt her scales prickle with awareness. What is it? I am not really a janitor, Marcus said quietly. I mean, I do clean things. That is my cover job. But my real job is different. He stood and walked to the wall. He pressed his hand against what looked like a normal panel. It slid open, revealing a hidden compartment. Inside were weapons, communication devices, and what looked like high-level computer equipment. I work for Earth Intelligence, Marcus said. I gather information for my government. This station is a major hub for trade and crime. I watch, I listen, and I report. Kael'Shara stood slowly. Her hand instinctively went to her side, where her sword would normally be. You are a spy? Yes, Marcus said. He did not look ashamed. And before you ask, no, I did not buy you as part of some mission. I bought you because it was the right thing to do. But now that you are here, I need to be honest with you. She studied him carefully. Her warrior training helped her read people. Marcus was telling the truth. She could see it in his body language, hear it in his voice. "Why are you telling me this?" she asked. "Because I do not want to lie to you," Marcus said, "and because I want to offer you something." "What?" He closed the panel and sat back down. "Freedom. Real freedom. I can get you off this station. I can help you start a new life somewhere safe. You do not have to worry about being bought or sold again." Kale Shara sat down slowly. "Where would I go? I have no money, no family, no home." "Earth," Marcus said. "You could go to Earth. My planet has treaties with many species. We accept refugees. You would be safe there. Why would Earth do that?" Marcus looked at her for a long moment. Then he said something that changed everything. "Because humans are different from most species in the galaxy," he said. "We have something special in our biology. Our DNA is highly adaptive. We can form genetic bonds with hundreds of different alien species. Not all of them, but many. More than any other known species." Kale Shara felt her heart skip a beat. "What do you mean?" "I mean that humans can have children with many different alien species," Marcus said carefully. "It does not always work, but it works more often than it should. Scientists do not fully understand why. Some think it is because humans evolved in a very diverse environment. Others think it is just random luck in our genetic code." She stared at him. "Are you saying—" "I am saying that Earth has been keeping this quiet," Marcus said. "We do not want the galaxy to know. If they found out, humans would become targets. Some species would try to use us as breeding factories. Others would see us as threats to genetic purity. We would lose our freedom." Kale Shara's mind was racing. "But if this is true, then why tell me?" "Because you are barren," Marcus said gently. "At least that is what the Drakesh test said. But those tests only check for Drakesh genetic compatibility. They do not check for cross-species compatibility." She felt dizzy. "You think I might be able to have children with a human?" "I do not know," Marcus said honestly. "It is possible. But I am not suggesting anything. I just want you to know that being barren among your own species does not mean you are broken. It just means the right genetic match was not available." Kale Shara stood and walked to the window. She looked out at the station, at the ships coming and going, at the thousands of beings living their lives. "Why would you help me?" she asked. "What do you get from this?" "Nothing," Marcus said. "I get nothing except the knowledge that I helped someone who needed it." She turned to face him. "Nobody does something for nothing." "Most people do not," Marcus agreed. "But some do. My mother taught me that kindness is its own reward. I know that sounds simple, maybe even stupid, but I believe it." Kale Shara walked back to the table. She sat down and looked at this human, this spy, this cleaner, this man who had bought her for 1 credit and then freed her. "I do not want to go to Earth," she said slowly. Marcus looked disappointed but nodded. "I understand. Then I will help you get to—" "I want to stay here," she interrupted. "With you," he blinked. "What?" "You said you gather information," she said. "You watch and listen. I am a trained warrior. I can protect you. I can help you. Let me work for you." "Kale Shara, you do not owe me anything." "I know," she said. "But I have nowhere else to go and—" She paused, searching for the right words. "You are the first person in a long time who treated me like I matter. I want to stay with someone who sees me as more than just a genetic failure." Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled. "Okay, but we do this as partners, not as owner and slave." Equal partners, Kale Shara agreed. They shook hands. His hand was small in hers, but his grip was firm. Over the next few weeks, they fell into a routine. Marcus went about his cleaning work during the day. Kale Shara stayed in the quarters, reading files and learning about Earth and its intelligence operations. At night, they trained together. She taught him Drakesh combat techniques. He taught her about Earth martial arts and weapons. They also talked. Long conversations about their lives, their worlds, their beliefs. Kale Shara learned that Marcus had lost his parents when he was young. He joined Earth Intelligence because he wanted to protect others from feeling that same loss. Marcus learned that Kale Shara had been a fleet commander before her diagnosis. She had led 1,000 warriors into battle and never lost a single fight. "You were a commander?" Marcus asked one night. They were sitting on the floor drinking coffee after training. "That is impressive." "I was good at my job," Kale Shara said. She flexed her claws, watching them catch the light. But none of that mattered when the test came back. "All my achievements meant nothing compared to my broken biology." "Their loss," Marcus said firmly. "Any society that judges people only by their ability to reproduce is a society that will fail eventually." Kale Shara looked at him. Really looked at him. His face was covered in sweat from training. His hair was messy. He had a bruise on his cheek from where she had accidentally hit him too hard during practice. He was beautiful. The thought came suddenly, and it shocked her. She had never found anyone outside her species attractive before, but Marcus was different. It was not just his appearance. It was his spirit, his kindness, his strength. "Marcus," she said quietly, "that thing you said about human genetic compatibility. Were you serious?" He met her eyes. "Yes, why?" "Because I want to know," she said. "I want to know if maybe with you I might not be barren after all." The air between them seemed to change. Marcus set down his cup slowly. "Are you sure?" he asked. "I am sure," Kale Shara said. He reached out and took her hand. "Then let us find out together." 3 weeks passed like a dream. Kale Shara had never been happier. She and Marcus had grown close in ways she never thought possible. They were partners in every sense of the word. During the day, she helped him with his intelligence work. At night, they held each other and talked about the future. She tried not to think about the possibility, the hope, but it was always there in the back of her mind. Could she really have a child with Marcus, or would her body fail her again? Then one morning, she woke up feeling sick. At first, she thought it was just something she ate. But the sickness came back the next day, and the day after that, her scales felt sensitive. Her sense of smell became stronger, and she was tired all the time. "You should see a doctor," Marcus said. He was worried. She could see it in his eyes. "I am fine," she insisted. "It is probably just a virus, but it was not a virus." Deep down, she knew what it might be. She was scared to hope, scared to find out the truth. Finally, Marcus convinced her to go to the medical center. They went together, early in the morning when the station was quiet. The doctor was a Vex, a species with blue skin and 4 arms. She ran the scanner over Kale Shara's body, humming to herself. Then the doctor stopped. Her 4 eyes went wide. "This is impossible," the Vex whispered. "What is it?" Kale Shara asked. Her heart was beating fast. The doctor turned the screen so they could see it. There, clear as day, was a small shape inside Kale Shara's body. Tiny but growing. "A life. You are pregnant," the doctor said. She sounded shocked. "But your file says you are barren. How is this possible?" Kale Shara could not speak. She just stared at the screen, at the proof that she was not broken, that she could create life after all. Marcus took her hand and squeezed it. She looked at him and saw tears in his eyes. "Happy tears. How far along?" Marcus asked the doctor. "About 3 weeks," the Vex said. She was still staring at her equipment like it had betrayed her. "But I do not understand. The father is human?" "Yes," Marcus said. "This should not be possible," the doctor said. "Drakesh and human biology are very different. The genetic compatibility should be near 0. "Apparently not," Marcus said with a small smile. The doctor made a note on her datapad. "I will need to run more tests. This is a historic event. A Drakesh-human hybrid has never been documented before. I should contact the medical council and—" "No!" Kale Shara said sharply. "You will not tell anyone." The Vex looked surprised. "But this is important scientific data. The galaxy should know—" "Doctor-patient confidentiality," Marcus interrupted. "You are not allowed to share her medical information without permission. That is station law." The doctor's 4 arms crossed. She did not look happy. "Fine, but people will find out eventually. You cannot hide a pregnancy forever." They left the medical center quickly. Kale Shara's mind was spinning. She was going to have a baby. After years of being told it was impossible, she was going to be a mother. "Are you okay?" Marcus asked as they walked back to his quarters. "I do not know," Kale Shara admitted. "I am happy, but I am also scared. What if something goes wrong? What if my body rejects the baby? Then we will deal with it," Marcus said firmly. "Together. But right now, let us just enjoy this moment." They made it back to the quarters safely. That night, they celebrated. Marcus made a special dinner. Kale Shara felt like she was floating. Everything she thought she knew about herself had been wrong. She was not worthless. She was not broken. She was going to be a mother. But their happiness did not last long. 2 days later, Kale Shara was resting in the quarters when Marcus burst through the door. His face was pale. "We have a problem," he said. "A big problem. What happened?" "The doctor," Marcus said. He was breathing hard. She sold the information. Someone hacked into her files and stole your medical records. Now everyone knows. Kale Shara felt ice in her stomach. Everyone? Everyone, Marcus confirmed. He turned on the view screen. News broadcasts filled the display. Every single one was talking about the same thing. Barren Drakesh female pregnant with human child. Impossible. Pregnancy shocks medical community. Human Drakesh. Hybrid raises questions about human genetic compatibility. Kale Shara watched in horror as her face appeared on screen after screen. The news anchors were calling her by name. They were showing images of her and Marcus. Someone had even dug up old files from her time as a military commander. This is bad, she whispered. It gets worse, Marcus said. He changed the channel. A Drakesh official appeared on screen. She wore the red and gold robes of the High Council. The Drakesh Empire demands the immediate return of Kale Shara, the official announced. She is one of our citizens. Her child represents hope for our entire species. We have suffered from declining birth rates for decades. If human genetics can overcome our fertility problems, we must study this immediately. Marcus turned off the screen. They are not the only ones. I have been getting messages all morning. The Zentari want to meet you. The Krell are offering money for an interview. Even Earth is asking questions. Earth? Kale Shara stood up. Your government? They want to know how much I told you, Marcus said quietly. About human genetic compatibility. They are worried that the secret is out. Kale Shara felt anger rising in her chest. I am not a science experiment. This is my baby. Our baby. I know, Marcus said. He came over and put his hands on her shoulders. Which is why we need to leave now. Leave? Where would we go? Anywhere but here, Marcus said. I have contacts. People who owe me favors. I can get us on a ship. The door buzzer rang. They both froze. Do not answer it, Kale Shara said, but the door opened anyway. Someone had overridden the lock. 3 Drakesh warriors stepped inside. They wore battle armor and carried plasma weapons. Kale Shara recognized the lead warrior immediately. Shalvera, she said. They had served together years ago. Commander Kale Shara, Shalvera said. She used the old title. The High Council requests your presence. You will come with us. I am not going anywhere, Kale Shara said. She stepped in front of Marcus protectively. This is not a request, Shalvera said. Her weapon came up slightly. You are carrying a child that could save our species. You will return to the homeworld for study and care. Study? Kale Shara's scales bristled with rage. You mean you want to use me as a breeding experiment? You want to figure out how to make more hybrids? We want to ensure the survival of our people, Shalvera said. Surely you understand. You were a commander. You know about sacrifice for the greater good. I also know about freedom, Kale Shara said. And I choose not to go with you. The 2 other warriors raised their weapons. Shalvera sighed. Then you leave us no choice, she said. Everything happened fast. Kale Shara moved first. Even pregnant, she was still a trained warrior. She grabbed the nearest weapon from the hidden wall compartment and fired. The blast hit one warrior in the chest, knocking him back. Marcus pulled out his own weapon. He was not as fast as Kale Shara, but he was good. He hit the second warrior in the leg. Shalvera fired back. The plasma blast went wide, hitting the wall. Alarms started blaring. Security would arrive soon. Go, Kale Shara shouted at Marcus. The emergency exit, they ran. Behind them, Shalvera was calling for backup. Kale Shara could hear heavy footsteps in the corridor. More warriors were coming. Marcus led her through passages she had never seen before. Secret routes that only station personnel knew about. They ran past surprised workers and confused aliens. The whole station was in chaos. Where are we going? Kale Shara asked. Docking Bay 7, Marcus said. I have a ship on standby? Always prepared for emergencies, they burst into the docking bay. A small ship waited there, engines already warming up. But they were not alone. Standing between them and the ship was a group of armed figures. Bounty hunters from the look of them. Different species all carrying weapons, that is far enough, the leader said. He was a Krell, big and covered in thick armor. There is a lot of money on your heads right now. We are going to collect. Kale Shara looked at Marcus. He looked at her. They both knew what this meant. They were trapped. And everyone in the galaxy wanted to take their child. But Kale Shara was not going to give up. Not now. Not when she finally had something worth fighting for. She spread her wings and roared. The sound echoed through the docking bay like thunder. If you want us, she said, her voice full of fire, then come and get us. The Krell bounty hunter laughed. It was a deep rumbling sound that came from his armored chest. "I like your spirit, Dragon Lady," he said. "But spirit does not stop plasma bolts. There are 8 of us and 2 of you. Be smart. Come quietly." Kael'Shara did not move. She could feel Marcus standing beside her, tense and ready. They were outnumbered and outgunned. But she had been in worse situations during the war. Sometimes the only way to win was to be more willing to fight than your enemy. "Last chance," the Krell said. He raised his weapon. Kael'Shara moved. She was fast, faster than most people expected from a pregnant female. She closed the distance before the Krell could fire, her claws striking his weapon arm. The gun went flying. Marcus fired at the same time. His shot hit a bounty hunter on the left, dropping him. Then chaos erupted. Plasma bolts filled the air. Kael'Shara used her wings to knock 2 hunters off their feet. Her tail whipped around, catching another in the stomach. Marcus kept firing, providing cover. But there were too many. A bolt grazed Kael'Shara's shoulder. Pain flared through her scales. Another shot hit near Marcus, forcing him to dive behind a cargo container. They were losing. Then the lights went out. The entire docking bay plunged into darkness. Emergency lighting kicked in after a few seconds, but it was dim. Enough to see shapes but not details. "What the Krell started to say. A new voice cut through the darkness. "Hey, ugly! Over here!" A figure appeared at the far entrance of the docking bay. It was human, female. She wore a pilot's jacket and held a large gun that looked military-grade. The bounty hunters turned toward her. She fired. The blast was huge, knocking 3 of them down at once. "Kael! Marcus, get to the ship!" the woman shouted. Marcus grabbed Kael'Shara's hand. "Come on," they ran. The mystery woman provided covering fire, forcing the bounty hunters to take cover. Kael'Shara and Marcus reached the ship. The ramp was already down. "Who is she?" Kael'Shara asked as they climbed aboard. "Sarah Chen," Marcus said. "My sister." "His sister?" Kael'Shara wanted to ask more, but there was no time. Sarah was running toward them now, still firing behind her. She made it to the ramp just as a plasma bolt hit the ground where she had been standing. "Go, go, go!" Sarah shouted. The ramp closed. The ship's engines roared to life. Through the window, Kael'Shara could see the bounty hunters trying to reach them, but they were too late. The ship lifted off and shot out of the docking bay into space. For a moment, nobody spoke. They just caught their breath. Then Sarah turned around and looked at Kael'Shara. She was tall for a human woman with short black hair and sharp eyes that looked like Marcus's. "So," Sarah said, "you are the dragon lady my brother spent 1 credit on." "I am Kael'Shara," she said. "Sarah Chen, Earth Intelligence Operative, senior rank," Sarah said. She held out her hand. "Also Marcus's older sister and current pain in his backside." They shook hands. Sarah's grip was strong. "How did you know we needed help?" Marcus asked. "I have been watching the news," Sarah said. She moved to the pilot's chair and started checking systems. "When I saw your faces all over the broadcasts, I figured you would need an exit strategy. Good thing I was already in the sector." "Thank you," Kael'Shara said. "You saved our lives." "Do not thank me yet," Sarah said. Her fingers flew over the controls. "We are not safe. Look at the scanner." Marcus moved to check the display. His face went pale. 5 ships, no 6. They are following us. Drakesh military vessels, Sarah confirmed. Plus 2 corporate ships and what looks like a Zentari warship. Everyone wants a piece of you too? Can we outrun them? Kael'Shara asked. "This ship is fast, but not that fast," Sarah said. "We need to be smart about this." She typed something into the console. "I am sending a priority message to Earth Command, requesting immediate extraction and support. Will they help?" Kael'Shara asked. Marcus and Sarah exchanged a look. "Maybe," Marcus said. "It depends on whether they see us as an asset or a liability." The ship shook. An explosion rocked them. "Warning shot," Sarah said. "The Drakesh want us to stop." "Keep going," Kael'Shara said. "I am not going back," Sarah grinned. "I like her, Marcus. She has fire." They flew through space at maximum speed. The pursuing ships were gaining. More warning shots hit near them. Then Sarah's console beeped. "Incoming transmission," she said. "It is from Earth Command." "Put it through," Marcus said. A face appeared on the screen. It was a human man, older with gray hair and hard eyes. He wore a military uniform with lots of medals. "Agent Marcus Chen," the man said. "This is General Hayes. We received your sister's message." "What is your status?" "Under pursuit by multiple hostile forces," Marcus said. requesting extraction and protection for myself and Kale Shara. The pregnant Drakesh female, Hayes said. It was not a question. The one carrying your child? Yes, sir. Hayes was quiet for a moment. You have created a significant problem, Agent Chen. The secret about human genetic compatibility is now exposed. Multiple governments are demanding answers. Some are calling for economic sanctions against Earth. Others are threatening military action if we do not share our genetic resources. Kale Shara felt her heart sink. This was worse than she thought. Sir, with respect, I did not know this would happen, Marcus said. I was just trying to help someone, Hayes interrupted. I know. I read your file. You are a good man, Marcus. But good intentions do not always lead to good outcomes. So what are you going to do? Sarah asked. Let them capture us? Hayes actually smiled. No, Agent Chen. I am going to do something we should have done a long time ago. I am going to tell the truth. Another face appeared on the split screen. A woman this time, also in uniform but with different insignia. Then another face, and another. Within seconds, there were a dozen high-ranking officials from Earth's government on the call. What is going on? Marcus asked. We are having a press conference, Hayes said. Right now, broadcasting to the entire galaxy. Earth is going public with the information about human genetic compatibility. We are tired of hiding, tired of letting others define who we are and what we represent. On the screen, one of the officials began speaking. It was being broadcast on all channels. Kale Shara could see her words appearing with translations in dozens of languages. People of the galaxy, the official said, I am President Zhang of Earth. Today we reveal a truth that has been hidden for too long. Humans possess unusual genetic compatibility with many alien species. This is not something we asked for. It is simply part of our biology, the president continued. However, we want to make one thing absolutely clear. Humans are not resources to be exploited. We are not breeding stock. We are people with rights, dignity, and freedom. Any government or organization that tries to force humans into genetic servitude will face the full might of Earth's military and economic power. Kale Shara watched in amazement. This was historic. Earth was changing the entire political landscape of the galaxy with one announcement. Furthermore, President Zhang said, we recognize that this revelation will cause fear and concern among many species. We propose the creation of an interspecies council to establish ethical guidelines for cross-species relationships and reproduction. These guidelines will be based on consent, mutual respect, and the rights of all individuals involved. The transmission ended. Hayes came back on screen. There, he said. That should buy you some time. Most governments will need to reconsider their positions now that Earth has gone public. But you are still not safe. Get to the coordinates I'm sending you. We have a military escort waiting. Sir, Marcus said. Thank you. Thank your girlfriend, Hayes said with a slight smile. If she had not gotten pregnant, we might never have had the courage to come clean. Sometimes fate pushes us in the right direction. The transmission ended. Sarah checked her console. Got the coordinates. It is a rendezvous point 3 hours from here. Will we make it? Kale Shara asked. Not sure, Sarah admitted. The Drakesh ships are still following, and they are getting closer. As if in response, the ship shook again, this time harder. Sparks flew from a panel. That was not a warning shot, Sarah said. They are shooting to disable us. Can you do anything? Marcus asked. Sarah's hands moved over the controls. I can try a few tricks, but honestly, we need help. Where is that Earth military escort? Another blast hit them. The ship spun. Alarms blared. They were running out of time. Then suddenly, space in front of them seemed to tear open. 3 ships appeared, emerging from faster-than-light travel. They were Earth vessels painted with the blue and white colors of the United Earth Defense Force. This is UEDF Carrier Washington, a voice said over the comm. We have you covered. All pursuing vessels stand down immediately or face military action. The Drakesh ships slowed. So did the others. Nobody wanted to start an interstellar war with Earth. We are safe, Marcus said. He sounded like he could not believe it. Kale Shara felt tears on her face. They had made it. Against all odds, they had survived. She put a hand on her stomach where their child was growing. This little life had changed everything. It had exposed secrets, challenged governments, and forced the galaxy to confront uncomfortable truths. And it had only just begun. 6 months passed like a strange dream. Kale Shara lived on Earth now in a place called Vancouver. It was a city by the ocean, with mountains in the distance and trees everywhere. She had never seen so much green in her life. Marcus's apartment was small but comfortable. Better yet, it had a balcony where she could spread her wings and feel the wind. Real wind, not recycled air from a space station. She loved it. Her pregnancy was going well. Earth's doctors monitored her constantly, amazed by how the hybrid baby was developing, half Drakesh, half human. Nobody had ever seen anything like it. "Your daughter is healthy," the doctor told her during a checkup. "Heart rate is strong. Growth is normal. You are doing great, daughter." Kailshara still could not believe it sometimes. She was going to have a daughter. Marcus was with her at every appointment. He held her hand during the scans. He asked questions about what to expect. He was nervous and excited and scared all at once. It made Kailshara love him even more. The galaxy was changing around them. After Earth's announcement, dozens of species came forward with their own stories. Apparently, human-alien relationships were more common than anyone thought. People had been hiding them out of fear. Now they could be open. An interspecies council was formed, like President Jiang promised. Representatives from 50 different species met on neutral ground to create guidelines. The debates were heated. Some species wanted strict controls. Others wanted complete freedom. In the end, they agreed on simple principles. Adults could form relationships with whoever they wanted, as long as everyone consented. Children born from these relationships had full rights in both parent species, and anyone who tried to force or exploit humans for breeding would face severe consequences. It was not perfect, but it was a start. Kailshara watched all of this from Earth. She gave interviews sometimes when she felt up to it. She told her story, how the Drakesh had thrown her away for being barren, how Marcus had bought her for 1 credit and treated her with kindness, how their child was proof that being different was not the same as being broken. Her words resonated with people across the galaxy, especially with other females who had been told they were worthless because they could not have children with their own species. Messages poured in. Letters of support. Stories of hope. The Drakesh Empire reached out too. At first, Kailshara refused to talk to them. She was still angry about how they treated her. But eventually, she agreed to a video call with the High Council. The councilwoman who appeared on screen was old, with scales that had faded to pale gray. She looked tired. "Kailshara," the councilwoman said. "I am Elder Shalkara. I speak for the council. We owe you an apology." Kailshara said nothing. She just waited. "We were wrong," the elder continued. "We judged you based on old beliefs. We thought genetic purity was more important than individual worth." "We were fools," "Yes," Kailshara said. "You were." The elder actually smiled. "You never were one for soft words. That is part of what made you a good commander. I remember reading your service records. You were brilliant in battle." "That did not matter when the test came back," Kailshara said bitterly. "No, it did not," the elder agreed. "And that was our greatest failure. We lost sight of what truly matters. The strength of our people is not in our genes alone. It is in our courage, our honor, our willingness to adapt and grow." Kailshara felt something tight in her chest. She had waited so long to hear these words. "The council wishes to restore your rank and title," the elder said. "You would be welcomed back as a commander, with full honors." "No," Kailshara said. The elder looked surprised. "No? I have a new life now," Kailshara explained. "A new family. I am not a fleet commander anymore. I am going to be a mother. That is enough for me." The elder nodded slowly. "I understand. But know that the offer stands. If you ever change your mind, you will always have a place among us." After the call ended, Marcus came and sat beside her. "Are you okay?" "Yes," Kailshara said. She leaned against him. "I think I finally am." The months passed. Kailshara's belly grew larger. She moved more slowly now, careful of her precious cargo. Marcus was constantly worried, but Sarah told him to relax. "Women have been having babies for millions of years," Sarah said. She visited often, bringing food and supplies. "Kyle is strong. She will be fine." Sarah had become a good friend. She taught Kailshara about Earth culture, helped her learn more English, and shared stories about Marcus when he was young. Kailshara loved hearing about how Marcus had been a serious child, always trying to help others even when he was small. One night, 3 weeks before the due date, Kailshara woke up with pain in her stomach. She knew immediately what it meant. "Marcus," she said, shaking him awake. "It is time." He jumped out of bed so fast he nearly fell over. "Time now?" But the doctor said 3 more weeks. Babies come when they want to, Kale Shara said through gritted teeth. Call Sarah, get the car. We need to go to the hospital. Everything after that was a blur. The drive through dark streets. The bright lights of the hospital. Doctors and nurses moving around her. Marcus holding her hand so tight she thought he might break his fingers. The labor was long. 18 hours. Kale Shara roared and cursed and squeezed Marcus's hand. But she never gave up. She had survived slavery, battles, and being hunted across the galaxy. She could survive this. Finally, after what felt like forever, she heard it. A cry, small but strong. It is a girl, the doctor said. Healthy, perfect. They placed the baby in Kale Shara's arms. She was tiny. Her skin was tan like Marcus's, but with small patches of red scales on her shoulders and back. Her eyes were large and bright. She had tiny wings folded against her body, and her fingers ended in small claws. She was the most beautiful thing Kale Shara had ever seen. Hello, little one, Kale Shara whispered. Tears ran down her face. I am your mother. Marcus was crying too. He touched their daughter's tiny hand, and she wrapped her fingers around his. The baby made a cooing sound. What should we name her? Marcus asked. Kale Shara thought about it. She wanted a name that honored both their cultures. A name that meant something. Mei Shara, she said. Mei is a Chinese name. It means beautiful. Shara is from my people. It means hope. Beautiful hope, Marcus said softly. It is perfect. They stayed in the hospital for 3 days. During that time, the news spread. The first human Drakish hybrid had been born. Healthy and strong. Messages flooded in from across the galaxy. Congratulations. Well wishes. Requests for interviews. Kale Shara ignored most of them. She just wanted to focus on her daughter. On the day they came home, there was a surprise waiting. A delegation from the Drakesh Empire stood outside their apartment building. Not warriors this time, just diplomats and elders. Elder Shalkara was there. She bowed deeply when she saw Kale Shara. We come to offer our blessings, the elder said, and to deliver a gift. She held out a box. Inside was a small pendant made of crystal and gold, the symbol of the Drakesh royal family. This is for your daughter, the elder explained, so she will always know that she is part of our people, even if she lives far from our worlds. Kale Shara took the pendant. It was heavy in her hand. Thank you. No, the elder said. Thank you. You have shown us that our future does not have to look like our past. That change can be a strength, not a weakness. The delegation left. Marcus and Kale Shara went inside with their daughter. Sarah was already there, having somehow managed to get into the apartment to cook dinner. Welcome home, Sarah said with a grin. Let me see my niece. She took Mei Shara gently, rocking her with practiced ease. The baby gurgled happily. That night, after Sarah left and Mei Shara was sleeping, Marcus and Kale Shara sat together on the balcony. The city lights sparkled below them. Stars shone above. Did you ever imagine this? Marcus asked. When you were on that auction block, did you think your life would turn out like this? Kale Shara thought about it. That day felt like a lifetime ago, when she had stood there, worthless and alone, waiting for someone to buy her. No, she said honestly. I thought my life was over. I thought I would die a slave, forgotten and alone. But then I paid 1 credit, Marcus said with a smile. Best credit I ever spent, Kale Shara said. She leaned her head on his shoulder. You gave me everything, Marcus, freedom, love, a family. How do I ever repay that? You do not have to repay it, Marcus said. He kissed the top of her head. Love is not a debt. It is a gift. Inside the apartment, Mei Shara made a small sound. They both listened, but she settled back into sleep. She will grow up in a different galaxy than either of us did, Kale Shara said. One where being different is celebrated, not punished. Where species work together instead of staying separate. Do you think it will last? Marcus asked. The peace? The cooperation? I do not know, Kale Shara admitted. The galaxy is big and complicated. There will always be conflicts. But maybe, because of children like Mei Shara, there will also always be bridges, connections between species that cannot be broken. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the stars, somewhere out there. Other couples like them were living their lives. Other hybrid children were being born. The galaxy was changing, one family at a time. Kale Shara thought about how far she had come. From a disgraced warrior sold for 1 credit, to a mother with a family and a future. It was not the life she had planned. But it was better than anything she